ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्बोधभूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ I think you got the papers now? Yeah, wonderful. So, we said in the morning, this Kena Upanishad begins with the question Kena, by whom, in whose presence. And that is in the first mantra, Keneshitam padati preshitam manah, Kenah pranah prathamah praiti yuktaha, Keneshitam vachamimam vadanti, Chakshushrotram kau devo yunakti. So, Keneshitam padati preshitam manah. Well, is there someone in whose presence, without a will, the mind and senses basically function as such? That was the question. Kena prana prathamah praiti yuktaha, united with whom, well, does this breath go in and out? Then keneshitam vacham imam vadanti, willed by whom, well, do the people speak these words? What is that factor which prompts the speech? Chakshushrotram kau devo yunakti. What is that effulgent being, well, which unites the eyes and ears with their respective functions? That was the question. It's a very peculiar question. But there is no other Upanishad which is so direct to, generally the Upanishad takes another route. Upanishad first establishes the Brahman as a Jagat Karana. So it talks about creation. And then from there it comes that Jagat Karana Brahman, that cause of the entire universe, that Brahman is you later. But here it is direct. You don't find in the entire Upanishad there is a discussion on creation. We will bring Jagat, otherwise there is nothing mention of Jagat. It's totally, they call it as a Tvam Pada Pradhana. Tvam Pada Pradhana. You are Brahman. Like that. Yat shrotrena shunoti, yena shrotamidagum shutam, tadeva brahmatvam viddhi, nedam yadidam upasate. Yad vacha anabhyudidam, yena vagabhyudyate, tadeva brahmatvam viddhi, nedam yadidam upasate. You are that Brahman. You are that Brahman. Direct. Oh, Brahman is Jagat Karam. No, nowhere it is mentioned. We bring the Jagat. That is different thing, but this is how it is. Anyway, this is a question. And then there was a reply, which is the definition of Atma, naturally. And that is Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manaha, Vachoha Vacham, Pranasya Pranaha, Chakshusha Chakshuhu, etc., etc. Shrotrasya Shrotram, that which is the ear of the ear, that which is the eye of the eye, that which is the mind of the mind, in whose presence without any will. So, and he's in whose presence means it is always present. It is self-existent. What is self-existent is ever present. That is called self-existent. And what is ever present is not affected by time. Everything exists now, won't exist afterwards. What was existent before may not be now. But this is one which is self-existent. There is no cause for its existence. I exist because I exist. Self-existent, self-revealing. How do you know you exist? If I ask you, how do you know you exist? You say, I know I exist. I know I exist because you are there, or I know I exist because I'm married. Nothing. Nothing. The Descartes said, well, I think, therefore I am. Means if you don't think, you are gone. See now. Because of you, mind thinks. Because of you, mind emotes. Because of you, mind desires. Because of you, mind recollects. Because of you, mind perceives. You are ever present. Self-existent, self-revealing. Therefore, what is self-revealing need not be revealed by anything. What is self-revealing does not require any means of knowledge to be revealed. That's called self-revealing. Because it is consciousness. Consciousness has to be self-revealing. Everything is revealed to the self. And self is self-revealing. Everything is evident to the self. Self is self-evident. That is I. Therefore, my existence, I know, without any means of knowledge. Just because, Swamiji, my eyes see, therefore I am. No. Even if your eyes don't see, you are there to tell that my eyes don't see. Yeah. Just because you hear, you can't say, well, I am there. Even if your ears don't hear, you are there to say. In fact, before you start perceiving anything through your senses, you are very much there. Once the perception is over, you are very much there. While the perception is there, you are very much there. It's amazing, right? So that is self-existent, unaffected by the time. That's how consciousness, Atma, is called timeless. What is timeless is immortal. There is no death. So basically, this is where the answer has been given. Here is a definition of Atma, but nowhere in that definition, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyat, etc., in that definition, you won't find Saeva Atma. Teacher doesn't say, because what is self-revealing need not be told. And there is it has been said also Shrotrasya Shrotam because of several reasons. One of that reason I am going to say you now. Anyway, so this Shrotrasya Shrotam, etc. reveals, this answer actually reveals two facts. And first thing is, without the presence of this Atma, the senses cannot perform their respective functions. So it is invariably present in eyes and ears and mind all the time to illumine. To make the mind conscious, to make the eyes conscious, to make the ears conscious by its presence. It's invariable, because of which then eyes are able to see, ears are able to hear. So in every cognition, there is a presence of the consciousness. And as I said, well, what is consciousness? You need not define it. You need not define it because consciousness is just you. If you are able to define, means you say consciousness is such and such thing. If I ask you, how do you know that consciousness is such and such thing? Well, you say, because I know, I have seen, I have inferred, whatever you say. Then consciousness turns out to be an object. Yeah. If consciousness turns out to be an object, it is no more a consciousness. Everything is an object of consciousness. Consciousness is not an object. And therefore, what is object of consciousness is inert. It's inert. It is illumined by consciousness. If consciousness becomes an object, then who illumines that consciousness? You need another consciousness. That's a morning hour, anavastha. infinite regression. Therefore, consciousness definitely is not an object. It is you. And we saw also. So that is how, so consciousness, which is the self, which is the I, in whose presence this eye, ear, etc. functions. Without that, they are incapable of hearing and seeing and thinking, etc. Consciousness blesses by its presence. That's the first fact. And the second fact, which is revealed by the Shrutrasya Shrutram, is the existence aspect. That is most important. And as I said, existence of anything is proven in consciousness. Without consciousness, you cannot prove anything, existence of anything. And therefore, so the ear is, consciousness is, eye is, because consciousness is. You have to ultimately say, I am conscious of the eye, I am conscious of the ear, I am conscious of the mind. So it always pervaded by consciousness, its existence, definitely. And therefore, the existence of all these sense organs and mind, etc., is derived from consciousness. Consciousness lends existence. That alone is self-existent, and everything's existence is dependent upon consciousness. And when existence of anything depends upon some other factor, that is called mithya, your favorite word, right? That is called mithya. Nothing to worry. Mithya comes means we feel something goes away, no? There is an experience of anything, but it is not real. Its reality has been borrowed from something else. That's all. When the reality is not on its own, then definitely it is mithya. One which is real, one whose existence is not dependent upon anything else, that is satyam, that is consciousness, as I self-existent, we told. So anyway, so this is all these sense organs and mind and etc. also, they are mithya. They are mithya, even including body, etc. also, I am going to come. And I am satyam, self-existent. Everything is dependent upon me for the existence. So two aspects. They are revealed, they are able to do their function because of I, and they are existing because of I. And therefore they are non-separate from I. They are non-separate. Anything which derives an existence definitely is non-separate from the one which lends existence. And therefore, they are non-separate from me. I am independent of them. They are dependent upon me. But Swamiji, this is all you are going in some other direction. Actually, our reality about ourselves is that I am a seer, I am a hearer, I am a thinker, I am a walker. The I always we know like this. Where is this I is consciousness, and what are you talking? Yeah. So that thing also we have to explain. We have to explain that part. And therefore, definitely that when I see that I'm seer. When I hear, I am a hearer, etc. That is true. And so it looks as though, you see, what happens is these eyes, ears are non-separate from I, the consciousness. But since I don't know that I am consciousness, which is the reality, what is non-separate from me, what is so close to me, I put the I sense in that. Yeah. That is called ego. See, this ego is basically, ego appears when the mind is there. We should know this part. And ego means what? Well, it's a status of being a subject with respect to activity. That activity could be a perception, that could be inference, that could be thinking, that could be a physical activity, anything. Because any activity is there, subject should be there. Without subject, where is activity? Therefore, basically, when all these activities are there, perception and inference and inferring something, thinking something, emoting something, or physical activity, well, then definitely there should be a subject. That's called ego. That ego exists when the mind is there. And ego has that habit. There's nothing but the consciousness identified with, say, all these things, mind and everything, senses, and ultimately body. Well, and so it places I sense there. And whatever they do, it claims. So, so consciousness, identified with the I. Because I don't know I'm consciousness. So what is so close to me, non-separate from me, which is I place the I sense in that. There is I sense in that. And then whatever function is done by the I say, I am doing. So I see, I say, I am a seer. Ears hear, I say, I am here. The reality is in my presence, they function. No, I function. I am a seer, I am hearer, I am a walker, etc. So this is what happens. So it looks as though the I is basically placed in the eye, in the ears, etc. Because consciousness is very much present in all of them, and therefore there will be a introduction. Well, I am a seer, I am here, etc. I am a thinker, etc. And the same consciousness is present in the physical body through one sense organ which is all pervading in the body. Like here, consciousness is present, right? Same way, there is another sense organ which is all pervading. It doesn't have, the locus of that sense organ is the entire body. The locus of eyes is here. This is called golakam. Locus of ears is this, eardrums. But locus of one particular sense organ is the entire body, inside, outside. And that is sense of touch. So through that, consciousness pervades entire body. And therefore, just as even though I am a consciousness, claim this as a I, same way, consciousness through the sense of touch pervades the body, and I say I am a physical body. Physical body is conscious, right? Sentient. And so, while I say I am physical body. So this is also part of ego. Ego means a sense of individuality, ultimately, the subject. It could be a knower, it could be a doer, etc. But there is an identification with this karyakarana sangata, with the physical body, the subtle body, and that's due to ignorance. And thereby then I give my different introduction. I am a seer, hearer, etc. Not knowing that these are the status, different status with respect to different activities. And they are there, they will remain. They will remain like this. Even in the case of a Gnani also, it will remain. Even if you ask to a wise person, he will say, well, I'm going to the dining hall for eating, or I'm coming to the lecture hall for talk. You see, he's doing all this. Well, I'm coming. Who is coming? I is, all-pervading consciousness. Where is this coming and all that? So this is how it is. It's all arrangement of Ishvara. That is how prarabdha is exhausted. There should be a general identification with the body. If general identification of consciousness is not there, well, if consciousness is totally withdrawn, then this will be totally gone. In that case, who will exhaust prarabdha then? So ultimately, for exhaustion of prarabdha, this body, etc., should be conscious, by which you will have an experience of pleasure, pain, etc. So that will continue. So a general identification with the body continues, but they call it as a specific identification which is born of ignorance that I am the physical body. Well, that will go away. I am the eyes, I am the seer, I am hearer. That will go away. He knows I am just a consciousness in my presence, without my will. Well, everything functions. Ears, eyes, etc. all function. So this is what is, and that's how we say prarabdha is exhausted. All other karmas, etc. will go away. I should not have discussed that, but I thought this would create a doubt in you, and since till tomorrow evening you will have to wait, so better let me talk. So if general identification is not there with the body will not remain even alive. Right? Even in deep sleep state also, due to prana, of course, otherwise my identification with body, etc., is not there. I sense is withdrawn totally. We'll see. Anyway, so, that's how consciousness identified with the mind, with every thought. Yeah. You are invariably present. everywhere, invariably present. And therefore, instead of taking one, what is non-separate is taken as yourself. Therefore, every thought is taken as oneself. A thought of anger, you say, I am angry. In thought of anger, you are very much there as the truth. Yeah. The whole anger thought is you, consciousness. Please understand this. Whole anger thought is you. And depression is you. But you are not depressed. Yeah, that's the thing. Amazing, right? It's just amazing. And therefore, eyes, ears, etc. also, they are non-separate from me. Same way the mind is non-separate from me. Therefore, every thought is non-separate from me. You lend existence to everything. What lends existence is the essence of that thing. What lends existence to the pot, that's an essence of the pot. What lends existence to the wave is an essence of the wave, and that is water. What is there in the wave without water? The whole thing is water. Oh, Swamiji, if that is the case, then water is wave. No, sir. For water to be water, it need not be wave. For wave, even to exist, water is there. The very existence of the wave is the existence of water. Wave is, that isness belongs, it doesn't belong to wave. Isness belongs to only water. Right? And therefore, every thought in your mind, any damn thought, is you, consciousness. But you are not that. That's the thing. Whereas my introduction is, I am angry, I am depressed, right? So that's called identification. Like I am seer, I am hearer, I am physical body. Same way you say, I am mind. And especially you won't say I am mind, but then every thought, you identify with every thought and you say, I am kind, I am successful, I am not successful, etc., etc. So this is a beauty. So whatever is there, the very existence of whatever is there here is consciousness. What is revealed here is consciousness, through consciousness. The whole thing is a crystallized Satchit. Honestly, it's a crystallized Satchit. The whole thing. The physical body, we'll be talking that. So the physical body, the mind, the senses, the hunger, the thirst, every cell, everything is not independent of you, the consciousness. But you, the consciousness, is independent of them. You are much more than that. You are much more than that. You are invariably present in everything. Invariably. Homogeneously present in eyes and ears and everywhere. In every thought, in a hunger, in thirst, in all organs of action, everywhere. You are very much present. But since you are independent of the physical body, mind, senses, definitely your dimension is different. Right? Your dimension is different. Since, the whole wave, if water, suppose, let us for a time being, we can imagine anything, Vedantins can imagine it. So you suppose you fix a human brain in a water, let us say, for time being. Then water will be self-conscious now. And being self-conscious, there will be immediately self-judgment. And so water should say, I am water. I am all-pervading water. But self-consciousness is there, but there is self-ignorance also. And therefore your judgment about yourself will be an error. And so instead of saying, I am all-pervading water, what is non-separate from it, that is the wave, he says, I am wave. Abba. That's it. whole samsara starts now. Looking at other wave, there will be jealousy. Looking, not understanding that wave or this wave is all just, the duality is apparent. I am water. So some guru like you and me should go and teach, right? Oh, bete. What approaches to your teaching is wave, please understand. But we should tell him, you are not wave. Your reality is your water. Who approaches this teaching is an individual, the knower, pramata. But the knower, when it surrenders, the ego surrenders, he doesn't use his own will. Then the teacher tells, you are Brahman, right? And he understands. Who approaches the teaching? That's a big question. Who approaches it? Knower approaches. A knower approaches and then knower knows that he is a knower. That's true, but that's an error. That's an error. Knower knows through the Shastra. The words of Shastra create a thought, vritti in his mind. Tattvamasi. You are that. You are that all-pervading water. You will understand. Not that you are not knower, but that's an empirical, just a status. For the knowing activity, that's a status of the mind. That's it. But knower can be my reality. If knower can be a reality, then you will be always a knower. Reality can never be negated, but it is very much negated. You tell right now you are knower, and afterwards you say you are a doer. Afterwards you say you are an enjoyer, experiencer, and that also will vanish in the deep sleep state. Knower vanishes, you don't vanish. If you vanish in deep sleep state, then who is the one who is experiencing deep sleep? Right? So it comes and goes. What comes and goes is not your reality, it's a status. The seer, hearer, all are status. Ego. That's the ego. And that ego only approaches. Brahman doesn't approach the Shastra to know I am Brahman. Kya baat hai? Knower approaches, the ego only approaches. Knower exercises the means of knowledge. Knower, like if one wants to see something, well, the seer only should be there. Exercises well his own, or wields his own pramana called eyes and sees. If he wants to listen, well, the knower becomes hearer and operates through his pramana, means of knowledge, called ears, and listens to sounds. Knower only operates means of knowledge through his will. But when this Shabda Pramana, the teaching comes, knower surrenders. He doesn't exercise his will. Allow the words of the teaching. Allow the words of the teaching to create a vritti in him. And that vritti is Aham Brahmasmi. And he understands that this is my mithya status. The knower is a mithya status with respect to what is to be known. Basically, I am knowledge, because of which the knower is, the known is, and the very knowledge is. All the three are me alone, but I am independent of all the three. This is how the knowledge takes place. Anyway, so ultimately, because of this identification, we say this, I am seer, hearer, or I am physical body, I am angry, I am this, all. Basically, the meaning of word, would necessarily resolve in consciousness. That's the reality of I. That's how we call that is the ultimate reality. And this is transactional reality, right? Transaction. Now, knowing the things also is a transaction. Doing also is a transaction. They call karma vyavahara, jnana vyavahara. These are various transactions. So accordingly, you have a transactional identity. Once the transaction is over, that transactional status goes away, but you are very much there. Consciousness is always remains. Anyway, so I is basically without any attributes, formless, simple consciousness. This is my knowledge. One who knows this, well, definitely has, one who has this clarity, well, he has gained the abidance. We call Brahmanishtha, Atmanishta. Anyway, so Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manaha, Chakshushas Chakshuhu, we have covered. Vachoha Vacham, we are still in that. We have ample time. Therefore, Vachoha Vacham. Vak means word here, stands for word. And the meaning of word is nothing but cognition. We saw that. So when the word is heard, well, there is the recognition of its meaning. Meaning of the word is a cognition. And when you hear the word, there is a recognition. Means you pick up the same meaning, etc. So Vachoha Vacham refers to, well, that because of which a word is heard, right? And cognized, but which itself is not a word. Consciousness is not a word. Consciousness is not a meaning of the word called cognition. Why? Because if word is not there, if consciousness is a word, word goes away. Word appears, I appear. Word disappears, I disappear. Cognition appears, I appear. Cognition disappears, I disappear. It doesn't happen that way. You are very much there to say there is a cognition or to say there is absence of cognition. You are very much there. Therefore, Vachoha Vacham, well, so means, well, basically, which is invariably present in every word, in pronunciation of every word, in the cognition of every word, in revealing an object through every word. Well, that is this consciousness. They're called Vachoha Vacham. And they give another meaning. Vak stands for all organs of action, right? Because otherwise we don't find. For Shrotram, Chakshu, etc. has been mentioned. For organs of sense organs have been mentioned that way, but organs of action have not been mentioned. So Vak, well, stands for all organs of action. So you can add now. You are feet of the feet. You are hands of the hands, etc. you can add word of a word. Instead, we can do this way. Speech of the speech, etc. Right? So what is the meaning? Which sustains everything. That's it. That which sustains all the organs of action, sense organs, the body, the hunger, the thirst, the pranas, everything, it is coming. It sustains everything. If you are not there, well, they are not there. They are there, you are there. They are not there, you are there. That's how it is. They are there, you are there. They are not there, you are there. Hunger is there, you are there. Hunger is not there, you are there. Yeah. Speech is there, you are there. Speech is not there, you are there. Yeah. Cognition is there, you are there. Cognition is not there, you are there. Emotion is there, you are there. Emotion is not there, you are there. Anger is there, you are there, very much there. Anger is not there, you are there. To say, now, please come Swamiji inside. Now I am not angry. Yeah. Or I'll say, don't call me. Don't call me, it is coming. Okay. Yeah. Invariably present. Who will challenge the presence of consciousness? Who will challenge? To challenge the presence of consciousness, you need another consciousness, by the way. Yeah. This consciousness is ever present, unaffected by time. Unaffected by time. No death. Anyway, so after that, well, Vachoha Vacham, then it says, Sau pranasya pranaha. You are the prana of the prana. The Atma is the prana of the prana. And Upanishad changes quietly here gender. If you see the verse, mantra, it says here, Yat chakshusha, yat shrotrasya shrotram, yat manasaha manaha, yat vachoha vacham, yat. It's a sarvanama in a neuter. It's a neuter. So that means in neuter gender. Yat shrotrasya shrotram, yat manasaha manaha. Now quietly gender is changed. Saha. Instead of yat, it is saha. Masculine. Saha pranasya pranaha. Why Upanishad is doing this kind of a you know, to indicate that you are free from gender. Yeah. You don't have any gender. Oh, Swamiji, what are you saying? Yeah. Yeah. You don't have any gender. So gender discrimination doesn't apply to me actually. Anyway, Atma does not have any gender. Free from any gender. Consciousness, that is how expressions are there in Shastra in all the three genders. Chitis tatpada lakshyarthya chidekara sarupini in Lalita Sahasranama. Chitis tatpada lakshyarthya, which is indicated, which is an implied meaning of the word tat. That is chiti, chaitanyam, consciousness. Chit, neuter word. Atma, masculine word. Atma is equal to chit is equal to chiti. All the three genders are there. But Brahman also in neuter. Anyway, so basically Atma doesn't have a particular gender. To indicate that, Acharya replies to indicate that Atma, to define the Atma, he uses both the genders. Well, definitely it is free from the gender. And human mind basically is highly entrenched to gender. Well, has to become free from this orientation. Self is free from three genders. Anyway, so pranasya pranaha. Prana means which makes the body alive. Because of the subtle body, the physical body is alive and able to respond to the world. Any kind of a response. Either seeing, hearing, etc., or any kind of other response. That response of the physical body in the world and the body is alive, etc., is due to subtle body. Prana, of course, we say, which makes the body alive, which is part of the subtle body, which sustains the body. So pranasya prana means Atma, well, is something on which prana exists. Prana depends upon for existence. Because of prana, the body exists. The prana exists because of, well, because of Atma. Atma lends existence to everything, well, of course. But this is how we say. And prana, of course, include apana, vyana, udana, and samana. So not just prana means respiration. Apana means, well, elimination of the waste through the lower aperture. And, this vyana, the circulation in the body. And udana means, ejection. Ejection of a waste from the upper aperture, from the mouth, from vomiting, etc. Then the udana becomes active. Udana also becomes active at the end of the life. The prarabdha is over. Well, then this jiva leaves, right? That time udana becomes active, they say. And samana means a digestion. All this basically they are sustained because of the Atma. Atma lends existence to everything. And so this whole thing can be looked upon a little differently now. Chakshusha chakshu, shrotrasya shrotram, etc. Well, they are able to function because of Atma. So we can say that, the power, the knowing power is due to Atma, right? Ultimately, hearing power, seeing power, touching power, smelling power is all due to Atma. Then vachoha vacham, etc. and pranasya prana indicate a power, power to function, kriya shakti. And that is due to, due to Atma. And manaso manaha, etc. that is called ichha shakti. Well, that is also due to Atma. So all the three powers are there in the body. Ichha shakti, kriya shakti, power to desire, power to act, and power to know. Well, ultimately, they derive their sustenance, from the Atma. So this is how we can say. And so this is how, there is nothing which is free. Everything what is here, nothing is basically free or independent from Atma. So that's how you are independent of the body, mind, sense complex, but they are not independent of you. That's how you remember our equation now. A is A is B, B is A, but A is not B, right? That used to be there. So this is how it is. You are not an individual. That's it. You can imagine what a samsara we have. If you take an individual, what is samsara? The sense of rejection, the sense of isolation, the sense of separation, the sense of being deprived of, sense of being not included. My God. All based on your wrong understanding that I am just an individual. If I am Brahman, I am conscious, if this is my understanding, which is all inclusive, all pervading, where is the sense of separation? Where is the sense of isolation? Sense of rejection. I always have a fear of rejection in a relationship. Fear of isolation. Fear of separation. They start thinking, if you won't be there, what will I do? Right? People talk, husband, wife, they talk sometimes. If you won't be there, what will I do? If I will not be there, what you will do? Something like that. You imagine. There is some truth in that, but it's not final. It's not final. Freedom from this. Freedom from fear of this. This is moksha. Freedom means what? This is the freedom. This is called samsara. A sorrow. Terrible sorrow. Terrible. This is not an ordinary thing. What I describe, this all. Fear of not being included. Isolation, separation, loneliness. My God. Loneliness. Where is the loneliness for Brahman? That's only reality. Where is the loneliness? When you say, I feel loneliness, definitely your equation is different. You have put the I sense where you should not have put. Yeah. All attributes of body, mind, sense complex is I. Begins all issues. That is samsara. Just because self-ignorance. Just because of self-ignorance. There are many things, several psychological issues. Answer is one. Knowing yourself. Self-knowledge only is a solution. All solutions other than that, even in the field of psychiatry, psychology, are all just stopgap arrangements. The final stroke is this. You should know yourself that everything here is you. You are independent of that. You are not that. Anyway, so, these all variables, object, etc., they are all variables. I am invariably present in them. What is the distance? Now let us go a little further. What is the distance between the object of consciousness and the consciousness? Swamiji, you said it is already non-separate. I said, right? It is non-separate, no distance. That's fine. But so far as this body, mind, sense complex and consciousness is concerned, well, this is this object of consciousness and I am consciousness, no distance. What about this objective world? Now we have to go further. We have to go further. Since you are much more than the physical body, mind, sense complex, your existence is independent of existence of the body, etc. Whether they exist or not, you exist. That's called self-existence. Then definitely now what about this objective world, which is also an object of consciousness? Object of consciousness. I am conscious of the world. I am conscious of the space. I am conscious of the time. I am conscious of everything. Why I am just conscious of the body? No. I am conscious of the table. I am conscious of the camera. What is the distance between the camera, which is an object of consciousness, and the consciousness? What is the distance? Swamiji, distance is there? 3 feet? 5 feet, whatever. 3 feet is 2. No, 5 feet. Distance will be always in space. The very space is the object of consciousness. I am conscious of the space, you say. So definitely the space also is an object of consciousness. Therefore space, the camera along with the space definitely exists in what? Consciousness, right? Pervaded by consciousness. And therefore between consciousness and objects of consciousness, really there is no distance. All derive their existence in consciousness. They are non-separate from consciousness, that is you. And therefore entire objective world, including this body, mind, sense complex, well, exists in consciousness. It appears and disappears. Addition of that doesn't make any difference to consciousness. Removal of that does not make any difference to the consciousness. Like wave, appearance of the wave in the water does not make any difference to the water. Disappearance of the wave does not make any difference to the water. These are called, the entire world is called are called incidental attributes of consciousness. Incidental attributes, not intrinsic, incidental. They appear, they disappear. That's how the consciousness, which is invariably present in everything, including the space, now is limitless consciousness. That which you has known as here a consciousness is in fact, is limitless consciousness called Brahman. We'll be seeing that further tomorrow evening maybe. We'll see step by step how you are Brahman, how you are limitless consciousness will go step by step. But here, as I wanted to just cover, so Brahman is the cause of the entire universe, that's true. Because Brahman lends existence to the entire creation, and creation is non-separate from the Brahman. So, definitely this creation, the cause of that is just Brahman. The cause lends existence to the effect. Anyway, so this is what has been said. And now finally, Acharya says, so chakshushas chakshuhu atimuchya dhiraha pretyasman loka amrtaha bhavanti. Now the result has been mentioned. Swamiji, it is too much. It is too much. But what is the result of, if we know this, what would be the result? We are all oriented towards the result. Shastra has to talk actually. And so the result of his knowledge is what? Freedom from death. So, not that you become free. If you know you become free from the death, no. That's not true. Knowledge is what? That you are immortal being. You are immortal being, you come to know. Not that knowledge makes you free from the death. You basically, if you know or if you don't know, you essentially is consciousness, freedom from any mortality, free of any death. But if you know, there will be an advantage. If you don't know, there is no advantage. So basically, you don't become free actually from the death. You just gain the knowledge that you are that self-existent consciousness. Existence is your nature. What existence is my nature, then non-existence can never be. I will be a non-existent, that will never be. And therefore there is no death of me, etc. So dhiraha amrtaha bhavanti. And how the two expressions are used here, atimuchya and asman lokat pretya. Atimuchya means giving up the notion of I in the ears and etc. because they are subject to death. All this. Giving the notion of I in the body and the ears and eyes and etc. in the mind. So, giving up that, and asman lokat pretya. We should know here, actually I am free from the body, I am free from the ears, etc., but they are not free of myself. That I have already told you. The difference has to be clearly seen there. So they are subject to time, I am not, right? And therefore, and then says, asman lokat pretya. Dying to this pretya means dying to this notion that I am as good as the body, I am as good as the sense organs. Asmat. Asmat means from this. And lokat, loka lokyate iti lokaha. what is experienced, what is known is called lokaha. And the body, the physical body, the mind, the senses, subtle body, etc., is known. Physical body is known. It's an object of knowledge. In fact, we'll discuss it is a most intimate object of knowledge. I have a knowledge of this body more than I have a knowledge of your body. Yeah. If I want to write an essay about my body, I can write in 200 lines. About your body, perhaps I can write only 10 lines. Right? So it's the most intimate object of knowledge. So that's how, it's called lokaha, which is known, which is experienced. And asmat, this. So asmat means from this body, mind, sense complex, basically. And why from this it has been said? Because it is very well known, right? And therefore it has used this expression, asmat lokat, pretya, dying to this notion of that I am the physical body, etc. Well, then somebody says pretyam is withdrawn from this body, mind, sense complex. Withdrawn the I from the body, mind, sense complex. No, that you do every day. You withdraw the I sense from the body, mind, sense complex every day. But when you get up, you are not a realized soul, you are not a wise person, right? So what makes a difference is a knowledge. That I am not body, etc. That kind of a knowledge only helps, not just withdrawal. Here, knowing that, that I am not this only, amrta bhavanti, then definitely they are no longer subject to death. What is subject to death dies. I am not subject to death. Earlier, if I don't know this, what is subject to death? Well, I take it as my death because there is I sense in that. Right? And therefore, so all this, physical body, etc., which is subject to death, naturally, it's all assembly. Assembly. And any assembly is subject to disintegration. Any assembly. It may be a car, it may be a cell, or it may be a house, anything. So basically, it doesn't remain in the same shape. What is assembly doesn't remain in the same shape. That is how we have a concern also. Right? So we sometimes put on the weight. And so it doesn't remain in the same form. What is assembly? Well, what is put together will definitely fall apart. The thing which has a parts and which are put together, which we call assembly, will fall apart. And everything is having a part. Subtle body, parts. Physical body, parts. That will disintegrate. Definitely disintegrate. So even Shrotra, etc., they disintegrate. If you have I sense in that, definitely you will say, I am subject to death. If you have I sense in the physical body, you say, I am subject to death. But if you have an I sense, now in year of the year, not year, then definitely you are just consciousness, free from any parts. What is whole cannot have any parts. What is whole cannot have any parts. What is having parts is not whole. And therefore, so now knowing this, that I am consciousness which is free from the parts, he becomes free. So knowledge does not make him. He realizes that he is like this. That's my reality, like that. And so, and there is no first breath, last breath, etc. Because I am pranasya pranaha. If I am prana, then there is first breath. Oh, Swamiji, I am breathing last now. Please come and chant some of Taraka mantra. I have last breath. Yeah, but you are pranasya prana. You sustain even the prana. Therefore, you are not the first breath, you are not the last breath. Amrta bhavanti. Definitely, this is how the person understands. So the body dies actually is not a problem. I die is a problem. The body is fat is not a problem. I am fat is a problem. Body is ugly, that's not a problem. I am ugly is a problem. That shows what? Well, basically, freedom from suffering is nothing but freedom from the notions about I which cause suffering. That's it. Freedom from suffering in a human life is nothing but freedom from the notions about I that cause suffering. What is the notion? I am fat. I am mortal. Right? I am ugly. I am this. I am black, white, this, whatever. All notions which I narrated as a complexes. All false, error, born of self-ignorance. So, this is how Vedanta makes you freedom from suffering by this. Not any kind of a change. People try to always want to become free from any suffering. People try to manipulate the world around. If nothing is there, at least you will change some arrangement in the home, The sofa you will keep there. And then you stand in the center and look like this, and then, it's wonderful. This is a better arrangement. For a few days afterwards, something else. So people change relationship, people change the arrangements, people change many things. They feel that they are the causes of suffering. The suffering is just due to non misunderstanding about me, the notion of I. That's how yesterday I said there are two types of problem. One is the problem in which the solution is outside the problem. The other is the problem in which the solution lies in the problem itself. This is this. If you understand the reality of I, there is no problem. If you don't understand it and have this kind of notion, I am this, I am that, well, there is problem. So the whole human pursuit is pursuit of freedom from suffering. That's how I consider. Pursuit of freedom from suffering. And that pursuit is a pursuit of knowledge, nothing else. Nothing else. And therefore, we should attend many more camps, many more. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.